The sun rose slowly over the ancient land that would one day be called Ganzhou, painting the wide valley in shades of gold and amber. Thick forests stretched endlessly, broken only by winding rivers and open plains where giant ferns swayed gently in the morning wind. The air was warm, heavy with the scent of wet earth and ancient life. This was a world untouched by humans, a world ruled by giants. From the edge of the forest, a massive figure emerged, Qianzhousaurus. Tall, slender, and unmistakably different from the other tyrant dinosaurs, it moved with a quiet confidence. Its long, narrow snout gave it a dragon-like appearance, earning it the unspoken title of the Dragon King of the Valley. Sunlight glinted off its dark, patterned scales as it stepped into the open plain, each footfall pressing deep into the soft ground. Unlike bulkier predators, Qianzhousaurus was built for precision. Its body was lean, its movements controlled and deliberate. Sharp eyes scanned the valley, tracking every motion. The flutter of small feathered dinosaurs in the distance, the slow migration of herbivores near the river, the subtle changes in the wind. This valley was its territory. Qianzhousaurus lowered its head, sniffing the air. Something was different today. The usual morning calls of creatures echoed faintly, but there was tension beneath the sound. A warning carried by instinct rather than noise. Somewhere nearby, the balance of the valley was shifting. It walked toward the riverbank, claws sinking slightly into the damp soil. Along the water's edge, massive footprints crossed its path, fresh ones. They were not its own. Qianzhousaurus stopped. The trail led Qianzhousaurus toward the far side of the valley, where the land slowly changed color. The rich green of the open plains faded into darker shades as the forest thickened, and the soil beneath its feet turned a deep rust red. This was the Red Forest, an ancient region where sunlight struggled to break through the dense canopy, and shadows clung to every trunk like living things. Qianzhousaurus moved carefully now. Its long snout dipped low, drawing in scents carried by the warm breeze. The smell was unfamiliar but unmistakable. Another large carnivore, strong and confident, moving without fear. The Dragon King's tail swayed slowly behind it, counterbalancing each silent step. It did not rush. Rushing was for the weak. A sudden crack echoed through the forest. Qianzhousaurus froze. Ahead, a massive tree trunk lay shattered, bark torn away as if ripped by immense force. Fresh claw marks scarred the wood, deep and violent. Whoever the intruder was, it was powerful and careless. It wanted to be noticed. The air grew tense. Even the insects seemed to retreat deeper into hiding. Then Qianzhousaurus saw movement between the trees. A bulky shape emerged from the shadows, its body shorter and heavier, its skull broad and thick. Unlike Qianzhousaurus's sleek form, this predator was built for brute strength. Its jaws opened slightly, revealing thick, crushing teeth designed to break bone. The two predators stopped several lengths apart. For a long moment, neither moved. The red forest held its breath. Qianzhousaurus straightened, lifting its head high to display its full height. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, illuminating the ridges along its snout and the sharp intelligence in its eyes. It released a low, controlled rumble, not a challenge, but a warning. The intruder responded with a deep growl, scraping one claw against the ground. Leaves trembled. Dust rose. This was not a misunderstanding. The red forest erupted into motion. The challenger roared, its pain turning instantly into rage. It charged forward with surprising speed for a creature of such bulk, crushing ferns and snapping branches as it barreled toward Qianzhousaurus. The ground shook under its weight, sending vibrations through the roots and into the very bones of the forest. Qianzhousaurus did not meet the charge head-on. Instead, it turned and ran. Its long legs carried it swiftly through narrow gaps between trees, weaving with calculated precision. Low branches brushed against its flanks as it slipped deeper into the forest, drawing the intruder away from the open valley and into unfamiliar terrain. This was no retreat. This was a plan. Behind it, the heavier predator crashed through undergrowth, roaring in frustration. It was strong, but it was clumsy. Each fallen log slowed it. Each sharp turn forced it to adjust its heavy frame. Qianzhousaurus glanced back, measuring distance. Close enough? It suddenly veered sharply to the left, disappearing behind a cluster of towering tree trunks. The intruder followed blindly, smashing straight through the path. In that instant, Qianzhousaurus spun around, slashing with its claws and snapping at exposed flesh. The challenger howled as pain tore through its side. Before it could retaliate, Qianzhousaurus vanished again, melting into the forest like a shadow. The Dragon King used the trees as allies, constantly changing direction, never allowing the fight to settle into a direct clash of strength. The chase stretched on. Sunlight shifted through the canopy as time passed. The intruder's breathing grew heavier, its movements slower. Each step became more desperate, more reckless. The red forest, once silent and ancient, now echoed with broken branches and angry roars. Qianzhousaurus, however, remained controlled. It led the challenger toward a narrowing ravine where the trees thinned and the ground sloped unevenly. Loose stones rolled beneath their feet. The Dragon King slowed just enough to keep the intruder engaged, to keep its rage burning. Then, the trap closed. The ravine lay silent, except for the labored breathing of the wounded challenger. Dust slowly settled, clinging to broken rocks and crushed plants. Sunlight filtered down in narrow beams, illuminating the blood-darkened stones beneath the intruder's feet. The red forest, once roaring with chaos, had gone still again, watching, waiting. Qianzhousaurus stood at the edge of the ravine, its tall frame unmoving, its long snout angled downward. Its chest rose and fell steadily, not with exhaustion, but with control. Every muscle remained tense, ready. Its eyes never left the fallen rival. The challenger struggled to rise, claws scraping against the stone. One leg buckled beneath its weight, forcing it back down with a heavy thump. A low, frustrated growl escaped its throat, not defiant now, but fearful. Qianzhousaurus took a single step forward. The sound echoed sharply through the ravine. The challenger froze. This moment would decide everything. The Dragon King circled slowly, keeping a careful distance. It studied the intruder closely, the shallow cuts across its flank, the deeper wound near the shoulder, the way its breathing stuttered. This predator was dangerous, but broken, no longer a threat to the valley. Qianzhousaurus lowered its head and released a deep, resonant call. The sound rolled through the ravine and into the forest beyond, a call of authority, not violence. It was a message carried by instinct alone. You have lost. The challenger answered with a weak growl, lowering its head. Its body language shifted subtly, shoulders hunched, tail dragging low. Submission. The red forest seemed to respond. A distant bird cried out. Leaves rustled gently as the wind returned, brushing through the canopy as if the land itself accepted the outcome. Qianzhousaurus stepped closer now, placing one massive foot beside the challenger's head. It did not strike. It did not roar. Instead, it stood tall, casting a long shadow across the ravine floor. Dominance had been proven. For several long moments, neither moved. Then, slowly, painfully, the challenger turned its body away, dragging itself toward the narrow path leading out of the ravine. Every step was a struggle, but it did not look back. It understood the warning. Return, and death would follow. Qianzhousaurus watched until the intruder disappeared into the trees, swallowed by shadow and distance. Only then did it relax its stance slightly, lifting its head to scent the air once more. The valley was quiet again. But this silence was different.